Every night is game night after hours. Top 100 cooperative games with the Broken Meeple, numbers 20 to 11. Yo, my peoples, what's up? Welcome back to the Every Night is Game Night podcast. I'm your host, Jason. Thank you so much for joining us. And welcome to Top 100 Cooperative Games. This is a list that I did with the Broken Meeple, Luke Hector. The entire list is on Luke's YouTube channel, The Broken Meeple, right now as we speak. It is probably the better way of experiencing the content because there's a lot of audio gags and show and tell that we do on the screen, but there are some people who prefer the audio version, so I'm here to give that to you right now. So if you have a little bit of trouble following along with the different numbers, the different items there, go ahead and check the timestamps. I've tried my best to line a timestamp up with the game that we talk about. So this is another part of the list. Hope you enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome back to Top 100 Cooperative Games. I am Jason from Every Night is Game Night podcast. I'm here with the Broken Meeple, Luke Hector. Say hi to the peoples.
Hey yo, peoples.
All right, we got to get this in quick because it is really hot in Great Britain right now. Luke may collapse on us. He has some coconut water. He has some, hopefully a fan over there.
It's hot. I mean, we're recording this, was it Saturday the 26th, is it? 26th of May? 26th,
yeah,
May 26th, where if anybody in the south is listening to this at that point, you know it was a hot day then, shortly before all the lightning storms.
All right, so we'll get this in real fast before Luke collapses. Hopefully we'll make that work.
It won't be fast.
We'll be fine. Okay, so we are here now. We have been through hours and hours of audio, recording 80 different cooperative games for you to enjoy. We have now arrived at the top 20 games. These are our favorites. We have both played all 20 of these games. We both enjoy all 20 of these games to one extent or another. So we are really, really happy and excited to bring you just a bunch of really awesome games. I don't think there's any preamble necessary. Is there anything that we got to go through, or we good to go?
No, particularly they all fit the criteria of co-op. That's for certain by the looks of it. And yeah, these are the creme de la creme. You may not agree with some of the ones that hit like the top 10, but hey, it's our list. So.
Hey.
We're not trying to tell you these are the 100 definitive top 100 co-op games. We're just giving you 100 good games with cooperation in them. And then we rank them for fun.
Exactly. So if you have a problem with our top 20, then, well, it's the internet. Go ahead. Go have fun in the comments.
Yeah. Or email to jasonperez@gmail.com.
All right. So let's get started. So for number 20, this is definitely one of my personal favorites. It's one of my personal favorite solo games, but it also works well cooperative. Not every a lot of solo games work cooperative. Not everyone makes a translation, but I think this one does it pretty successfully. You'll notice my preference for like smaller co-op games as we go on. It is Onirim. Onirim. No. It's a Onirim. The knee. It's the Onirim. There you go.
Is it? Because everyone pronounces it one of two ways, basically.
Yeah, it's like a Rashomon of pronunciation. No, I think that's the way Shadi Tobe pronounces it. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. Yeah, Onirim is basically it's the biggest. It's not the first one in the Oniverse line. I think it was the second, but this is definitely the biggest. This was the first one in the reprint of the Oniverse. And the game is simple. A lot of you have probably played the app, and the app is like really, really excellent. The cooperative game. So you know how you have a hand of 5 cards in Onirim? In a cooperative game, one person has 3, the other person has 3, and there are 2 common cards. And those common cards are basically counted as being in both your hands. And the cooperation comes in where, like, okay, you're looking at those common cards and you're saying, I think you're working on that, so I'm going to leave that for you, and you're going to swap this in, and you're going to swap. There's a lot of cooperation that actually goes into Onirim, which is a really, really simple A simple card game like this, just a lot of luck involved. A little smidge of skill too, which is probably the best cooperative games.
Hidden away amongst all the luck, but yeah.
Right. Beautiful art, beautiful kind of pace to the game. I think there's a cooperative element to it. I really, really am loving on Onirim. It was pretty close for you too. You ranked at number 35, so that was pretty high for you.
Yeah, it is solid, and I want to try and get the girlfriend on this one at some point. She might like just a simple co-op game. That's a card game that we can just take anywhere. Whether we'll win or not, I don't know. I barely win it solo mode. It's like people are out there sort of boasting as, oh yeah, I've got like 50% wins or something, and I say, I swear you're fudging the system a little bit there, because I'm playing it and I'm like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just getting hounded.
We have another co-op coming in here that has a very, very high win rate if you're willing to kind of fudge things a little bit. We'll definitely get to that when we get to that. I think Luke knows exactly what I'm talking about. But that was Onirim, our number 20. Number 19 is a little bit of a weird one. Follow us here for a second. So it's actually two different games, but they're super, super similar except for one rule change. So Luke likes Werewords, and I like Insider. So these are both really, really, really similar. They're basically, 20 questions style game. So like, there'll be a master of something, and they know the word, but everybody else is trying to ask questions to try to narrow down what the word is. But then there's one secret person. So there's like a secret role. And depending on what version you're playing, you're either an insider, you are that secret person is trying to guide the group towards the right answer without being discovered, which is very, very co-op. I mean, basically everybody loses together. So like if that person is not successful in guiding the group, everybody loses. So there's kind of an element of cooperation with a twist. Werewords is more of a traitor thing, where it's like, he or she is trying to mess things up a little bit, but that dynamic of one person kind of knows the answer to steering the group a certain way. It's both kind of present in the games. I really feel like if you just put a variant in each of those games, it becomes the other. Just put them in the rules. That's why we put them together. So a weird one to have all the way up at number 19. Luke, what were you thinking?
Well, what? I mean, it was
of all the great grand co-op games, Gloomhaven is 21.
Well, we both agreed on this one, but to be honest, I would sooner play 100 games of this in the time it takes to play a Gloomhaven game. Mainly because it lasts 5 minutes, and Gloomhaven lasts 3 hours. It's ridiculous. But the thing with where was that? Because I know we put both on the same list. I actually grew a bit with Insider. I much prefer this one because of the drastic rule change. Because you've got the critical difference is that the Insider in the Oink game version is sort of still on your side, but then suddenly decides to be hidden, and you can just completely blend in by being shy. And so that one sort of threw me off a little bit. When this one came out, I much preferred the whole werewolf trait variant. It was more familiar for people. It was easier to explain to people, look, if you're a werewolf, you know the word, ask the right questions, just don't go mad, don't ask specific questions. And yeah, people get into it a bit more. Plus, the word bank in this with the app can be huge. I mean, community downloads for this are insane. You can get some weird lists out there. But even just I want to do movies or 80s music or 60s, you can do all sorts with it. And granted, some people might argue, well, where's the cooperation? You're up there. But it's still, again, one team versus another team. And you quickly sort of gather, some of you are working together, and certainly the mayor may or may not be working with you. So yeah, I can get why people might hate the definition as such, but I've been getting this to the table a lot lately, and we just have 1 game, 2 game, 3 game, 4 game. We just go nuts because you always play about 5 in a row.
Mm-hmm. See, why I prefer this game, and this game is probably more of a traditional cooperative game. You're asking questions, and that another person kind of jumping off the other person to ask a follow-up question. You have to really pay attention to what people are doing. So why I like this, one, I'm not the hugest fan of the versus in general, so I guess it's a preference thing. Number 2, it's easy to explain if you've ever been a teacher, which I have, or if you've ever been a parent, where you want the person to get where you want them to go, but you don't want to just tell them. So you're teaching math or something, and you're like, okay, they're sitting in front of 2 times 2. And it's like, okay, if, some famous baseball player has 2 hits and he drives in 2 runs, how many, that kind of thing.
All
and
right.
you're just like, you're desperately trying to get them to the answer without actually like, so
Prodding
that
it.
in a way, so that they get there themselves, like they deliver the final blow themselves. So like that is very familiar gameplay for me as a parent and as a teacher, and the cooperation element of it. But I'm not going to say anything bad about Werewords. Werewords is cool. I've actually also played this. Like I was going to play Insider at a party, and which, by the way, this is my favorite cooperative party game. No, full stop. Mysterium. It's heavy. It's a big to do to kind of get out there, like in terms of like a big player count. I could just lay this out and whatever. And I even forgot the entire thing. So what I did was I had a deck of Codenames cards and my timer on my phone. So you just like, okay, I laid out a bunch of words. I knew the rules. I just generate a word, throw on the timer and go. So like really, really portable, really, really fun gameplay. Both of us recommend whatever variant you want, Werewords or Insider. Okay, so that was our number 19. Number 30 on my list, number 33 on Luke's list, so really, really close.
Other way around, wasn't it?
Sorry.
Yeah, other way around.
Okay, so this is our number 18. This is going to be quite a surprise if you are in the community. You have heard a lot of garbage flung at this game. We both feel that it is not deserved. Well, there's a certain part of it that is deserved, but the game does not deserve the garbage that it gets.
You've got it fine. You can show it. We both got it.
There it is. First, Martians. So I see so many people in the community asking, should I get this game? Should I get this game? I'm hearing bad things. And really, you hear bad things about the rulebook. The first edition rulebook, which is the rulebook that's in here, is horrendous. I have had Ignacy Trevicek on my podcast, and he's been on his podcast. He's all over the place saying, yep, the rulebook stinks. Rulebook stinks, rulebook stinks. I admit it, the rulebook stinks. And it does. It is not a good rule book. It is not well written. It is not well organized. There's rules that are essential that are just stuck in sidebars, and there's no examples. I mean, it's just, ugh.
Yeah. This is the thing with Portal, unfortunately.
Once you get past that initial hurdle and you actually get into the game, it's a solid game.
Yeah.
And then once you get past the one-shot scenarios and into a campaign game, then this thing really hums. I played through the campaign solo. I could not stop. I was like, wow, I really got to know what's going on. And there's all sorts of app stuff going on. Once the deeper you get into this game, the more I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I like the one-shot missions though.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like them all. I like the campaign and the one-shot missions, but I'll happily just jump in like that. And I get the rulebook. Yeah, the rulebook stinks. Horrible. But
there is a new one though. There in later editions had a new rulebook.
Well, it's not even just that. I think mine's a later edition, but even then, it's still a bit of a stinky rulebook in the way it's laid out. But the thing I said on my review, sort of early Jan, I think, was I wanted people to give it more of a chance, because when it did come out, the bugs in the app as well as that rulebook, yeah, it did pretty much kill the game off. I don't blame you guys for hating on it then. I got it and reviewed it basically January, December time just gone. So a lot of those bugs had been ironed out, and now the app worked quite well. On top of that, I got it when Ignacy had put a almanac on his website.
Right.
So he's got like a PDF document, which is like a revised rulebook. So it works better. It's better laid out. It's better sections. But I learned from that, combined with Rodney Smith Watch It Played. He does the video for this as well. If you learn it via those two things, it's actually not that bad to learn. I mean, it's still a heavy game with a lot going on. But yeah, if you just basically take the rulebook, toss it out the window, and just follow the almanac and that, just print it out. I've got mine just sitting in the box. Then it works great. And yeah, I mean, spoiler alert, we'll find something similar to this later. But
right.
I didn't think I would like it as much, because I thought, this scientific Martian stuff, I don't know. Maybe I want to actually see actual Martians and that. But it's like, nope. I actually really love it. It's great co-op, great teamwork. Even if I play it solo or with other people, I don't mind. Yeah, the story's very good, and it actually made me want to watch the movie The Martian, because that's pretty much what this is, The Martian, the board game. Right. And I enjoyed the movie, so it's like, I want to get this back to the table again soon.
Right. Oh yeah. No, this was 16 on your list, so you really, really enjoyed it. It was 47 on mine, so I enjoyed it too. There's definitely a iteration of this that is higher on both of our lists. We'll get to that in just a second. But that was First Martians, our number 18 Number 17 is a personal favorite of mine. This made rocketed up to number 8 on my list. If you remember the hype train, choo choo, on this list or on this game that happened, what was it, 2016? That this game was all hyped up and everything. Yeah, so a couple of years ago now. So you're not hearing too much about it now, but it's not like it expired. It's still I think, an outstanding game.
Yeah.
Another one of my heavy guys. Here it is.
I think it's become a little bit of a flash in the pan, mainly because it's come out, done well, is a good game, and then that's it. It's like, where's a reprint? You know, where's another? How would you get this game ever again? So it's kind of had it's had its window.
So this is Mechs versus Minions. In case you're listening to the audio version of this, this is my number 8. Luke's number 52. So he likes it well enough. This game, see, cooperative deck building is hard. Cooperative timed deck building is even harder, and it also has that. Hold on. Oh God.
Oh, do not talk to me. Do not do the breaking back thing. Not after the last episode.
If you have not listened to the episode where Luke broke his back carrying all of his Arkham horror stuff.
The vault. Yeah.
The vault. Yeah, that was nothing. Okay, so Mechs vs. Minions, it has deck building in it. It has a timed element to it. So like in terms of like drafting cards, it has tactile movement. So you're moving stuff on a grid. It's scenario based. There's a whole lot of different elements coming in there. I think it works really well. I mean, I still have fun with it. I'll still run through all the scenarios and everything, but they never supported it. I think there was an expectation listening to some of the interviews that there would be a surge of kind of fan interest in the game. So like, fan-driven scenarios and everything. It's there. I'm not, I mean, I think that a lot of other stuff has kind of come in. Like it landed basically the exact same time as Terraforming Mars and Scythe. And those games are blimps. I mean, I always see those games kind of, being played, still being played just, International Tabletop Day. It was like, basically tournaments of this thing, and we didn't even organize that stuff. So maybe this game got lost a little bit in the shuffle. The limited distribution, I guess there was a lot going against it. Doesn't make it a bad game, though. I still really, really enjoy it. That is Mechs versus Minions. Got anything else on that one, or are you good?
Pretty good. I mean, the limited distribution is what's kind of hurt it, really. I've only had a few, like the odd few plays of it, and it's been someone else's cappy, so I haven't managed to get one myself. I would like to get a cappy because I think it's decent, but yeah, it's like I say, limited distribution is going to hurt it, so I couldn't rate it stupidly high. On top of that, I think maybe because it's based a lot on that whole League of Legends type thing of, I forget what they call it, MMORPGs. No, that's not what they call it.
MOBA.
MOBA, yeah, MOBA games. And I'm not a big fan of the MOBA games in general. I mean, I can't stand League of Legends as a computer game. So, it doesn't gravitate as much to me, but I love the mechanics in this, and yeah, it's stupidly well produced for a game for its price range. I didn't even mention
the well-produced part.
Oh, yeah, for a game that costs less than some of the other like high-priced games at the moment, this thing is just gorgeous.
It really is.
I would like to see another reprint of this, then I can grab a copy.
All right, so that was Mechs vs. Minions, our number 17. Number 16 is a favorite of both of ours. It made it really, really high on the list. 24 for Luke, 22 for me. We're both really on board with this. Freedom, the Underground Railroad.
And for me, it's a big surprise.
Why is that a big surprise for you?
Historical themed games are not one that I tend to go mad for. There tend to be exceptions to the rule. I have games like Founding Fathers, for example, which, should be a theme I don't go mad for because I'm not a big history buff or history fan in general, but yet I played Freedom and it's just, wow, okay, I don't care that I'm not a history buff. This is just a very fun, tough game.
That's right. So in this game, it's a difficult theme. So you are playing an abolitionist and you are helping slaves escape from the South, like the deep, deep South, so like the plantations of Louisiana, that kind of thing, through the United States, either from the West or the East or the coastlines or anything like that, into Canada. So the way it works is like the slaves are represented by wooden cubes, and that was a very intentional design choice. They didn't want like meeples or anything because that would like create more, even more angst.
I did play it thinking, oh come on, I want something here, but hang on a minute.
Yeah. So you're kind of and it's kind of a push pull type puzzle because every time you move a cube, there are these other pieces on the board, slave catcher pieces. So they're going from city to city to city. If they respond to the movement of the runaway slaves, like you have to move one, pull the slave away, and then the other one kind of moves. Very tense. And it had this money management involved in there. There's some special card play. There's a lot to love here. The difficulty might be a barrier. And what I will say, I don't care, but in case you're wondering about it, and wondering if it's well, how does it play as a co-op? It probably has the worst alpha player problem of all co-ops, and that's including like a game we're going to talk about in a bit, which always gets knocked for alpha gamer, because in this game there is all public information. Nobody has their own separate like hand of cards that are kept secret. There are no pieces on the board. Everybody controls different pieces, so like you're literally like everything is available to everybody, which means it's available to the alphaist person on the table. So buyer beware on that one. But if you can kind of get past that hump, if you can get past the theme, wowie. Difficult, tough as nails, very emotionally evocative too. We both love it. That is Freedom, the Underground Railroad.
Definitely the best work.
What's that?
I think definitely the best work.
Oh, Academy Games?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big Academy Games guy.
I've only done some of them, but they do a lot of the war history theme games like 1775 Rebellion. They've done this 878 Vikings one or something, and yeah, out of all of them so far, it's like, yeah, Freedom's the one I would play.
Yep, that's the one, and it's very different. Like this is not a head-to-head game at all. This is a pure co-op. It better be a pure co-op.
I think it's that theme. People can get sucked into it and want to get it. I mean, I'm not a history buff. I know very little about the whole slaver period and stuff like that, but I can't look away. I can't look at this game and play it as a dry thing, because I'm thinking to myself, well, at the end of the day, yeah, maybe pushing around cubes, but these were slaves. So I don't want to lose any of these people.
All right, so that was our number 16. Number 15, another pure co-op. So this was the game that I was alluding to, of a game that has a very, very high win rate depending on who you ask. The more you stick to the hardcore rules of the game, the worse you will do.
Yeah, I mean, you don't. It depends on what you class as winning, because technically you don't win per se.
Okay, there you go. So the game is Hanabi.
Hanabi.
It isn't really Hanabi?
No, it's Hanabi. I just like saying that.
Don't do that to me. You're messing with my head.
Onirim.
This was Luke's number 40, my number 5. I love this game.
This I'm actually shocked by, because I do love it. I've still got it on the shelf, but it hasn't hit the table in a while. At 5.
Okay, so there's a couple. Well,
is this a teacher thing?
No, it is. This is not the teacher thing. This is not
okay.
And by the way, I should have the tile version, but I only have this version because it's portable. So I can just dump it in the box and just go and play it anywhere I want. Play with the tiles if you can manage playing with the tiles. Okay, so the reason why I hit number 5 for me, I mean, I love the gameplay. I love getting into people's heads, and I don't mind that frustrating thing where it's like, blue, you give somebody a thing and they have no idea why you gave them the clue. It's frustrating, but at the end of the day, I'll have fun with it. There is a system, and okay. Have you ever played Bridge?
No, I haven't. I really do want to try it though.
When you play Bridge, there's a set of like conventions depending on what position of card is in your hand and how you play things. If you play this, then it means this. So like there's kind of an extra level of conventions that people kind of agree on. That has developed for Hanabi, so you can actually get a good score in Hanabi without technically like cheating, where it's like cheating would be this one, and like play this now. Well, no, but the convention is more like, if you get a card, put it in the left side of your hand, and if someone gives you that clue, then it means play the newest card, that kind of thing. There's a whole system
Play games for fun, people.
It's really hard. You got to try. I may do a how-to video on how to do the conventions in Hanabi. It is still challenging. It's still fun, and you cannot beat the multicolor without it.
Fair enough. I mean, to be fair,
anybody can beat the hardest multicolor without some sort of shared understanding of what you guys are communicating to each other.
Probably, but I mean, to be fair, I can't remember the last time I even tried the multicolor variant. I am actually just fine playing it with the basic colors, because I mean, if you're playing it with new players, you're not synced up. So the game's already challenging, and people say like, "Oh, it's too easy now." I think those people have got those conventions like you in place, or are a bit lenient with the rules and that. Because it's okay to get a.
Those are different things. Being lenient with the rules is not the same as agreeing on conventions. And if I play it with new players, I'll just forget it. I'll just chuck everything and just do that thing.
But
that's all.
Yeah,
I've had fun with that too.
You can get a high score without too much trouble unless you do really badly, but to get the full 25 is not easy. It's not like you're doing it every single game, even without the multicolours or something, because somebody will give a stupid clue, or you'll just draw the cards badly in that, so it's not like it's a common thing. So I look at the multicoloured stuff and I just think, look, I want to play a game, I don't need to be like punished severely.
I love it. I love Hanabi. I'm going to release that video, Donna, and I'm going to show you guys that agreeing on conventions is not the same thing as just cheating. So we'll see. Anyway, that is Hanabi, our number 15. Number 14, we're flying through these because we don't have to explain them too much. These are very, very popular games. Most people who are familiar with this list can pretty much predict what's going to come, maybe with a couple of surprises here and there. We'll see. So number, what is that? 14 over here. This was a Luke special. So this one is number 30 on my list. So, pretty high. And then 14 on Luke's list.
Oh, man.
Mine too.
Forbidden Desert.
Of course I have all these.
Forbidden Dessert.
Forbidden Dessert. Tell us exactly why Forbidden Dessert was all the way up to your...
Up to the 14.
It should have been Forbidden Dessert. That's what I thought it was when I first saw it on the shelf.
This is honeycomb ice cream. This is not sand.
It's ambrosia.
Yeah, it's because I had some earlier. Awesome. Honestly, I don't know. This, for me, it's always enjoyable. You can make it a tough challenge. You play on hard or elite mode, and this thing will beat you down senseless. Even normal can make you lose, particularly on the type of characters you use. Some are easier than others. But we had Forbidden... Did we have Forbidden Island earlier? We did, didn't we?
Yeah, we had Forbidden Island.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like your first one. Like, you've never seen a game before, I can get you into a co-op. This is the next step up, but even then, I like to just throw this one in for people. I've shown my girlfriend this. I show a lot of people this at charity events. We're showing you what games are about. This is just the perfect one because I can literally just get 4 to 5 people playing it, teach it within like 5 minutes. In fact, I don't even have to start teaching it. I literally just say, right, here's the 4 actions you do. You've got to find stuff. Go. And then I just explain stuff as they go along. It's such an easy one to implement to new players. And so, yeah, I mean, if you just want a pure co-op experience, that's so simple. Hate the fact it's a 10.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. My God. Number 10s.
But you can't get over the fact that for something like, £16 or something stupidly cheap for this thing, and yet they give you, good sand tiles, they give you good cards, and they give you the cool ship.
Woo!
The cool little toy thing where you sort of... Basically, half the game is just putting the bits on it in various places, and as soon as you win, you go, whee! Like, just take the ship away. Act like a kid. Because it is a toy. It's a giant toy. Oh, come on. You've done it before. I'm sure you've done it before. At one point, you took that ship and went, wee!
I never said the words we.
All right, what did you say? Hi-ho silver or something? I don't know.
Something. All right, so that was our number 14, Forbidden Desert. Yeah, another one of my favorites. And also, I mean, a very good app as well. Check it out on the iPad and everything. A lot of these games have been turned into apps. So
Did it have an app?
It did. Uh-oh.
Wow, okay.
Go get it now.
I don't play a lot of games on my iPad anymore. It's usually on Android or Steam if I do get time to play apps. So I've been a bit out of touch with the iPad apps-wise.
It may not be. It may be on the Android, so I have no idea. I'm an iPad person.
I'll have to look that up again. I've missed that one.
There it is. All right, now we're going to turn to our number 13. This is probably the highest pure deck builder on the list. Not going to be a surprise if you know anything about cooperative deck builders. This one kind of snuck in there. It announced itself on its original Kickstarter as, "Hey, we're a deck builder." So like, okay, great. Or we're cooperative deck builders. Like, okay, fine. And we have a fantasy theme. Okay. Then you played it. Aeon's End. And you were amazed at how great the gameplay was. This game figured out how to do deck building. It puts Marvel Legendary to shame. It's better than Shadowrun Crossfire or Dragonfire, whatever you're playing. Like, those are all solid games. You can enjoy them however you want. But this game is smooth as butter. Was this higher on? No, it was higher for me. A little bit higher for me. What this game does, what separates this game as a cooperative deck builder, is they managed to get a game with a lot of involved gameplay, a lot of great decisions, but very, very minimal tracking. So you don't have to say, in a lot of these games, Harry Potter, which was our number 100 way, way back in the day, was the worst with this. And there's a lot of them that do this badly. but like they give you a lot to keep track of during your turn. So like, okay, this monster gives +1. This monster has DR1. This monster is immune to poison damage. This monster is and you're basically playing half the game is tracking. This game, minions come out, effects happen, but you don't have to pay attention to them unless they're directly affecting the game. So like a minion will come out, it'll do a thing, and then it's just like there. You don't have to worry about it, and you know something's gonna happen next turn, but you don't have to like track it. And it's just the turns fly, and the bosses are varied and cool. They still find a way to make everything kind of changed up. This is the War Eternal. So it has the base game, the War Eternal, and 4 different expansions in it. Aeon's End Legacy just backed off. This is lots and less stuff available for Aeon's End.
Your experiences sound a little different to mine, though. I mean, you're talking about it being buttery smooth with not much to track. You do track a little bit in it, because you've got to keep an eye on those like little mage portal things, which I suppose one big flaw with this, component quality could have been better.
The second Kickstarter fixed a lot of that.
All right. Yeah, you don't have to track as much as certain other games, and I do enjoy it. I mean, I did have a good time with this, although the first boss is kind of a pushover, and then you've got the other bosses, which is like ridiculously hard. Yeah, difficulty spikes in it. I've never seen turns fly by, though, because one thing that put me off keeping the game was the fact that if I played this with 4 players, I basically wanted to cast a fireball in my face to end it quickly, because it was like, okay, how long does this co-op deck builder need to take? 2-player works fine. Solo worked fine as well. Although solo, you're kind of unbalanced in terms. You
got to be two-handed.
Yeah, you've got to be two-handed. If you're solo, you will lose this game, and that was a bit of a put-off. Again, more things to keep track of. The 3-player one, though, I found it best with the free fun-wise, but it also took a while, because 3-player gives you the neutral like turn order thing. Because it's randomized turn order, but you can kind of pick one of the cards, decide who's going to go what. And when you add that debate time on top, it does tend to make the game quite long as well. So, I mean, yeah, like I say, these are minor nitpicks, because I did enjoy it. I just wish it wasn't generic fantasy, and I would have liked it to be a little bit quicker game-wise. But otherwise, yeah, still think it's solid. I don't think I've looked at the re-release much. Maybe I should give it another so you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly the same stuff. I mean, I think they add rather than subtract. So there's like new mechanisms. Like, so if you have the way the casting works is like you have these they call breaches, and you have to cast your spells into the breaches and then do a second action your next turn to kind of fire off the spell. So you have this kind of like cock and load mechanism. So you can like link spells together. You can combo things. So they up the complexity on that. So I may have to like step that back in terms of things being like really, really fast. It's not like, there are faster games, but not the ratio for like the complexity of it, for how complex it is, it's fast, if that makes sense. So like you can have a really, really simple game that's even faster, but I don't want a simple game. I want something that with a lot of mechanical heft, and I don't want to have to like add +1, minus +2, check this, that, check that, stat. I got one game for that.
I was going to say, people are going to call foul on that.
I already have one for that, and I forgive that one because of the other thing. Maybe that'll be on our list. I'm not sure if that other one makes the list, but we'll see. But yeah, other than that, I love it. I'm loving Aeon's End. Did not back Legacy because I just felt like the Legacy part of more of the same, but like it like the first couple games looked like My Little Legacy or whatever, or My Little Aeon's End, and then it kind of scales up to regular Aeon's End. Like whatever, but whatever.
Yeah, we don't need another Charterstone. We've already had that.
There we go. So that was our number 13. Number 12 is another Luke special. I do not own this. I'm sure you have a pile of it. Are we going to see another you turning around and grunting at a big box of stuff?
No, not this time, because I decided not to bring the actual crates in here, because that would just be too much. And they're not actually big. They're about a standard suitcase size, really. But I do at least have the get the webcam on it. Yeah, the sort of engraved box lid, because that's what most of the vault boxes are. There's some kind of design thing. So I know you're probably looking at it backwards, or perhaps I'm looking at it backwards. But failing that, maybe people will get more of an idea from. I've got I got 2 of these folders, so they hold all the cards I've got. And this is Lord of the Rings LCG, so I've got everything in there from start to current, with the exception of Nightmare decks. I don't bother with that because the game is hard enough as it is. So I don't need it to punish me anymore. I hear some of them just make it more thematic, which is great. If that's the case, maybe in the future, but I'm behind. I'm at least a cycle and a half behind current. I just have the cards, and I've got some other Saga stuff to do. But Lord of the Rings LCG, I think this is the oldest, no, not one of the oldest LCGs Fantasy Flight ever did. Classic Lord of the Rings lore. You have a selection of heroes. You can pick what they call spheres, which are basically the theme of the deck. Do you want combat, threat control, encounter deck manipulation, stealth, that kind of thing. Pick what race you feel like: Gondor, hobbits, elves, ents. You can do all those. And basically each cycle is a campaign of sorts. Yeah, you play through a campaign. You start with a deluxe box, and then you go through each cycle, another mission, or another quest as they call it, and you get to the end. And it plays out a very good narrative story, which is one thing I do like with games like this. But this, I don't know, theme-wise, you can argue there are weird things. You could pair up like Arwen with Treebeard and Frodo or something. Like a weird trio pairing. But theme-wise, when you're playing a game, when you get into these situations, some of the quest stories, a lot of it comes down to the missions. The missions are so varied, they're so different. One will have you investigating ruins in a tomb, like you might know. Another one has you on a deserted island looking for a temple, and the map is the cards, and you've got to go through this map in order to try and find where the temple is. You've got killing stupidly hard bosses like Shelob, for example, if you do the Saga one. If one has you fighting a pirate dude you're like chasing a pirate down, that you start off in battle with him, and then halfway through a kraken appears, and suddenly you join forces to try and kill off the kraken, before it scuttles your entire ship. Such good storyline narrative, and I am a big Lord of the Rings fan, which does help. Love the movies. I've read the book, well, the audio book anyway. Although I'm glad they didn't make I'm glad they didn't make the book exactly like the film, because otherwise it would have been Lord of the Rings the musical. It has so many songs in it; it is ridiculous. But nah, it's a big favorite for me, and it's very hard to get into it now if you're just starting. But you can skip a few cycles. I do recommend the Saga expansions are great because you can play for the movies. So if you don't want to go through the cycle packs, just start off with the Fellowship of the Ring and just move on through the movies, and it'll be familiar. But yeah, tough as nails. You might have to make it on easy mode if you're a new beginner, but yeah, just adore it. I just wish I had more time to play it.
So I didn't get into board gaming until this was a little bit into its cycle, or into really collecting, getting all this together. So I read a stat once that it would cost you, if you bought everything at MSRP, which, hopefully you're not doing that.
No.
It would cost you $2,000 American dollars to get everything, which is about 3,000 pounds or something like that. Like, that is, who has that laying around?
No, no.
What is it?
I was going to say, that'd be more like 1,500, 1,600 quid, yeah.
Yeah, you go the other way. Okay, so yeah, sorry about that. Sorry to scare you.
Inflation.
Yeah, about 1,500 pounds or something like that. It is a really big expense. I'm not living that life. I got enough to buy.
Yeah.
The game has a very and this is another thing that puts me off. It has the same problem that Android Netrunner has. It's a very huge meta. So you have to kind of know, be into the deck construction. So you have to really pay attention. You can't just throw cards together. You can't just throw cool stuff together. You can't be like, oh, I want these 3 dwarfs to go by, and just I'm going to go. Yeah. You're going to get murdered in this game. You really have to pay attention to balance and different cards and that cards. It's a very, I'm not saying that's bad at all. Yeah. That is not a bad thing, but that's going to be a barrier for a lot of people, especially as progressed as it is.
Yeah, it has a steeper learning curve, but you can get away with some thematic decks. There were some Hobbit decks that worked brilliantly. Dwarfs were one of the most powerful archetypes for a while, using probably just dwarfs and dwarven cards.
You gotta know which dwarven cards. You can't just throw cards that have D's on them into the same deck.
But you come across of them, and it depends how big your card collection is. If you've got a limited supply, you can only do so much. But you've got 2 ways around that. One, you can play on easy mode, so you start off with a bit more resources, and it just makes life a little bit. No, you can play easy. I play standard, but some people can play easy. Secondly, ringsdb.com. They've got one for pretty much all the LCGs. And you can go on there and you can just look up other people's decks, get advice from them. It's a good community, and probably one of the best communities I've seen when it comes to a card game. And because Well, I'll get onto it later. But yeah, and you can just go off someone's deck. It's like, I want to find a dwarf deck. I want to use the hobbits, Frodo and Gandalf. Oh, there he is. And you pick this deck and you just get the cards. But when I mentioned about community, one thing that's put me off with a lot of card games is the community with them. I mean, I don't play Magic the Gathering anymore. Still a good game. I don't play Netrunner anymore. Still a great game. I don't play Dice Masters anymore. Still a great game. But the tournament community was always like pretty harsh, and there was a lot of this like, oh, you don't have that card in your game. Well, it's like,
oh, you're using that deck. Oh,
yeah, it's like snooty.
Yeah,
there's a lot of snootiness now. There's not everybody, but there is some. When it comes to the co-op LCGs, though, everybody is just so friendly because nobody's out to be better than anyone else. All the conventions that have those fellowships, you have them in America. We don't have them here, unfortunately. But you get together and they give you a really hard quest and you all cooperate. But nobody's shouting at each other going, you suck, your deck is stupid, or anything like that. Everyone's trying to get each other through it. And, you can deck tag, you ask a question online. It's like, I don't quite get why you use this combo. Someone will answer it and they don't shove it in your face. That's what you want.
So that was Luke's number 2
yes.
game of all time. This was my number 40, and number 12 overall.
I think it's actually my number 2 game of all time. Period. Yeah, it's either 2 or 3. It keeps shifting up between it. It's something like that, but it is constantly a top 5.
Yeah, it's number 40 for me. I like it. I like playing it. I just missed the meta. I missed the boat. And so it's hard. It's just a hard thing to get into.
I don't think I started when it got that point though.
But I'm the kind of guy that if I'm gonna get into something, I get into it. I mean, I'm not gonna stick my toe in this. So it's just okay. I'm good. If somebody has a deck for me, I'll play it, and I'm not gonna talk any stuff about it. I'm just not as into it as Luke obviously is, but it's a really great game. Okay, so number 11. Yeah, we are at the eve of our top 10. We are actually going to delay talking about number 11 for just a minute, because number 11 is Pandemic Legacy Season 2 or Season 1. Sorry, I spoiled something. But what I'm going to do is we are going to hold off talking about it until we get to Season 2, which is higher on the list. And we'll just compare the two. Really quickly, no spoilers, so don't even worry about
spoilers, boo!
Boo! You can do that, right? You're doing the video.
I know, I'm not doing that. I've got enough work as it is.
That's a lot of work.
But I do love that bit where you boop and you whoop and it.
All right, that's going to do it for another episode of Every Night is Game Night After Hours. This has been Top 100 Cooperative Games with the Broken Meeple. You can find the video version of all of these podcasts on Luke's channel, which is The Broken Meeple, over on YouTube. If you wanted to pursue that more, we are going to continue counting down until Friday. That is when we are going to present our top 10 cooperative games, and Anthony will be back. We'll make that into a regular episode, and he'll have a top 10 list of his own. Hopefully, we'll see you there. Until then, this is Jason signing off. Later, everybody.